All right, well, I'm here with Scott Simpson, the owner of 303 Motorsports in Wheat Ridge, Colorado. What would you say the number one item is that people usually miss when it comes to their car?
One of the misinterpreted items that happens when people come in is vibration. A lot of clients associate vibration with a wheel alignment. The alignment is something completely different and is something that has some other tendencies with it. Veering, drifting, or not handling well. That vibration really doesn't have anything to do with an alignment, and it's usually something that's out of balance or a rotational item that needs to be corrected. An example of that would be these guys. These are stick-on wheel weights for any aluminum or steel mag wheel. In quarter-ounce increments, these wheel weights are added to certain points on the wheel so everything is in balance together. If these weights are dislodged or disappear from substantial moisture or heat, you're going to get vibration or an imbalance in the rotational assembly. The other part is if this inner edge of the wheel itself has a bend in it. It can be pretty severe to a very minor bend that's just a flat spot, which now the weight is out of placement. They both are annoying and they both have things that can cause other problems down the line, but vibration is not something that is associated with alignment, and alignment is not something that would cause a vibration.
Awesome, thank you. When it comes to brakes, what would you say another thing to pay attention to is?
Under light braking, it's very common for our clients to complain about a light squeak under light pedal application. More often than not, nothing's wrong with the brakes. It used to be that when your brakes started making noise or squealing, that it was time to replace them. That's not the case so much today. A lot of those materials that were used 20 years ago are no longer able to be used in today's brake pads in most cases. So this is the brake rotor, it's the brake pad. When you apply the brakes lightly all the time and we don't get a fair amount of heat, it wears away that pad transfer layer, the rotor becomes very shiny, and then that amplifies the squeaking effect. One way to help that is to get a little bit more aggressive with your stops, wait a little bit longer, brake a little harder a few times to generate a little bit more heat and reapply that pad transfer layer. 2 is brake dust. You always see that car with black wheels up front and silver wheels in the back. They've never washed their wheels, and that buildup of brake dust just amplifies that pad chatter or that pad walking under that light braking. Regardless of how great the rest of your car is performing, the only part of your car that actually touches the road or is in contact with the road is the tire.
Why are snow tires important?
Snow tires are very important because they are a different design. They are a different makeup. And on the snow tire, you can see there's all these little ridges and openings called sipes, and there isn't a lot of channels for the snow to get stuck in. It channels it away, and the tire actually kind of opens up and grabs the ground as it hits the ground, as these little serrations open up. The compound of the snow tire is also different, where it performs and stays malleable in cold temperatures. Anything below 40 degrees, an all-season tire or a summer tire is literally going to freeze up, whereas the winter tire remains pliable and is able to grab and grasp the ground and snow or ice even when it's extremely cold out. It won't pack full of snow, therefore it keeps all of its surface area and grabbing edges to where you get traction, you're able to brake, you're able to turn, and you don't slide to where you don't want to be. And for our customers, that's one of the biggest changes. People who've gotten used to running an all season, when they go to a dedicated winter set, it's like a whole new world, a whole new car, and the amount of control and maneuverability is just phenomenal.
Do they still have studded snow tires?
They do have studded snow tires, and studded snow tires are really for those extreme climates where there's ice and snow all the time. Studs are primarily there for ice traction. It's a metal stud in the tire. Its dry weather traction is horrible, and to have a set of studded snows, you really need to be in a place where the snow never melts and you're not really driving on dry roads. It's ice pack or snow pack all the time.
So our next tire is an all-season tire?
The all-season tire with the vertical bands helps with the channeling of water to maintain surface contact, so it works well in rain, but it's a compromise. It's kind of a marriage of all the tires into one. The tire has components of both the summer tire with the vertical bands as well as the larger contact patch areas, and some of the features of a winter tire with very light siping in the tread block itself. It works well in rain and dry weather. It doesn't perform as great as a dedicated summer, and it doesn't come anywhere near the performance of a dedicated winter.
Is there anywhere specifically in the country that you think an all season might work better?
Places where all seasons are the same, like Florida, or places that don't have extreme changes. Now, there are all seasons that do better in the snow versus others, and they have a true winter rating. They are a little bit more money, but it's something where that value is really had because all it takes is one slide into a curb or something else where you're paying your insurance deductible or you're out of your car, and it goes back to safety. A summer tire is a combination of a few different things. One, you can see by the tread design that you've got very blocky, very large contact patch areas. You've got some channeling for water, but nothing there's no siping because you want to have as much contact patch and stiffness or lateral load capability in the tread pattern itself. The compound of a summer tire is very different than that of an all-season or winter tire, that it is a much softer compound. So when a summer tire is put into a winter condition, it becomes like an ice skate. These channels fill full of ice and snow, and there's no siping, there's no grooving to allow that snow and ice to break out. Not to mention the tire is pretty much frozen in anything under 40 degrees. So driving a summer tire in the winter, you have very little control, very little steering input, and very little braking because it's essentially driving a slick tire on ice. This is an example of a bald all-season tire that is past the end of its life. You can see what used to be some tread there. It's worn completely flush all the way across, and there is virtually no tread left on this tire. Vibration and balance of the tire has really been compromised, and these tires are very dangerous for not only the person whose car they are on, but the cars that are around that person. You have compromised braking, you have compromised turning ability, you run the risk of blowouts, you run the risk of tire failures at speed, and this tire is not going to have any traction in wet, snow, ice, or anything else. So bald tires are not good for anybody. They're great to be recycled and for playground mix, but they should not be on your car and should be replaced anytime a tire is at this point. A sign that is on any tire is a wear bar. On the summer tire, you can see where the wear bar is raised in the tread, and once the tread becomes level with the wear bar, that is the direct sign that the tire has reached the end of its life and is in need of replacement. This tire is well past that. It's worn all the way completely flush. There's a little bit of a sign of a wear bar right there, but this tire is an extreme example of a bald tire that no one should have on their vehicle. A lot of oil changes or maintenances from manufacturers today have intervals of 10, 12, 15,000 miles, and that is based on a normal maintenance environment. A severe maintenance environment requires a severe maintenance schedule. According to manufacturer specifications, a normal maintenance schedule would be an environment where the car is primarily driven on the highway, it doesn't see much stop and go driving, and it's in a pretty mild climate. A severe maintenance schedule consists of some of the following: extreme temperature changes, we definitely get that here in Colorado, so cold to hot. Stop and go driving or city style driving is harder on the vehicles themselves. Another one is high elevation or dusty climates. All of those add to how frequently you should be doing maintenances or oil services. And in the severe maintenance schedule climate, the manufacturers dictate a different number of miles before those intervals, and it's usually a lot less. It's usually about 50% of that. So anywhere from 5,000 to 7,500 miles is what they would suggest for where we live and where most of us drive. It helps in the preventative maintenance as well, because now you're ensuring that the car is being looked at, you're ensuring that nothing gets too far past to where other costly repairs come into play, whether it's under warranty or it's not under warranty. It is a very common misconception that when you're under warranty, the only place you can take your car is to the dealer that you bought it from or that manufacturer dealer itself. That's not the case. Now, for warranty covered items or warranty covered repairs, recalls, yes, you do have to take it back to that selling dealer or one of the manufacturer dealers. To have your car maintained or have services or anything else done, you can take your car wherever you feel comfortable, and it does not have to be that dealer. It does need to meet the standards that the manufacturer has outlined for the quality of the products or fluids that are used with the car. But as long as those are documented within the intervals for mileage and those items, you're good to go. Your warranty's covered. You're not going to void your warranty by coming to an independent shop or going any other place than that dealer. If you're someone who wants to do the services yourself, you can do that. You just need to buy the parts that were within the recommendations of the manufacturer or meet those standards. Make sure you hold on to the receipts and make sure you document the mileage at the time in which it's been serviced. Those items are what you need in order to maintain your warranty eligibility, and that service can be performed by any reputable professional shop. Any noise that is pronounced, or humming noise or growling noise, don't assume that it's normal. If it's been there in the car for the last year or maybe since you bought the car, it may be an issue, it may lead to an issue, and when it's in for a maintenance inspection or in for another service, make note of it and don't assume that it's nothing before it becomes something. As a technician in a dealership under warranty, you can only repair items that are either complained about by the customer or are a safety related item. Technicians can't fix everything that's wrong with the car. It seems crazy, and in some ways it is, but in some ways it isn't. If there's an oil seep or a slight leak and the customer hasn't complained about it, you can't fix it. And it's set up that way so it isn't just an open playing field for every technician and every dealership, and therefore the manufacturer is looking out for themselves, not necessarily the consumer at the end of the day. So as an independent shop, when we're doing your in-between oil and filter services or the recommended maintenance schedules, we can go through, inspect the car, and give you the information that you need to have the right terminology or to complain about something that you may otherwise not have known about, and ensure that it's covered under the warranty in which you bought with the car.
If you'd like to find out more about 303 Motorsports, go to 303motorsports.com to check out any of their female-friendly automotive events. Or, if you've never been out to the track before, come join them at a track day.